Hi, I'm Caleb. I'm a cardist, and I'm interviewing other cardists to see how and why they create, so we can learn how to grow as a community. Welcome to Cardistry Talk. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cardistry Talk. Today, I'm joined by Bear Smith, also known as BearCardistry on social. He's an amazing cardist that has a really nice, smooth flow that's really fast. Do you think that's a good explanation of who you are?
Sure, I don't care. You can just say he's Bear.
So,
Bear with him. I don't know.
I got some questions here. First one I got for you is your name really Bear?
Oh, well, that's a complicated question. Well, I'll just say this. All my friends call me Bear.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Just leave it ambiguous then.
It's a secret. No, it's not really a secret. My middle name is Theodore. So my family started calling me Teddy.
Gotcha.
And you can see how that eventually became Bear as I got older. So yeah, I'm Bear now, I guess.
I was just wondering because like if your name was legally Bear, like that's a pretty tight name, I think.
Thank you. Yeah. Eventually, one day.
Yeah. Once you get old enough, you can don't tell your parents, but you can change it.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you get started into cardistry and magic?
Um, well, I was looking for something to do that didn't involve me going and getting more stuff. Like I wanted to get one thing and be able to participate. So like because the reason why was because I had gotten sick for like over a year. So like I was just in bed and I was like, what am I doing with my life? So I found Dan and Dave on YouTube and I was like, yo, these guys are awesome. So that's kind of what got me into cardistry.
So about how long have you been practicing it?
Well, if you include my magic years, it'd be about 7, give or take a few months. But yeah, I'll just say 6 years
6.
of just yeah, both.
Gotcha. On your Instagram, obviously you post a lot of still pictures, and also, like I said before, you have some really nice, smooth flowing moves. But you also have a lot of pictures in there of decks. What do you think makes a good picture of a deck of cards, or a good picture of like a fan or anybody holding just some playing cards?
Well, I think that really involves you look at the deck, and you think, okay, what does this remind me of? So whenever I take pictures, I'll like kind of go around and look for things that, oh, I think it'd look cool with that. Um, and then I kind of like take the cards out of the box. That also helps. But yeah, putting it in situations where there's a lot of contrast to the colors. Maybe it's a simplistic deck, put it in a really complicated situation. Or if it's a really complex deck, simple situation. So you have contrast and yeah, kind of go with your style. See what works for you.
A lot of people probably watching would like to, do more good photography kind of pictures. Is there any tips? You kind of said some just now that you could maybe give out for the people who want to kind of venture into taking pictures of decks of cards or playing card boxes, etc.
If you have a smartphone, get close to the deck because you'll get like a depth of field. Otherwise, the photos can get really boring. So yeah, that's the trick I used to use. Yeah, and like I said, experiment with your surroundings. Try to be creative. You just gotta find what works for you. But look at what other people have done. Look at someone else that you admire. Look at someone's style and say, okay, how did they make that shot? And then that should be able to get you started making some cool photos.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something like I do with this show as well. I don't know if have you seen Hot Ones at all? The YouTube show?
Yes, I have.
So like where they eat progressively hotter wings.
Yeah, that's a cool show.
Yeah, I draw a lot of inspiration from them. Not the wings part, eating spicy wings, but just like the research that they do on their guests. And like, I really admire, like, I think Sean Evans is one of the best interviewers in the game. So if you ever want to get started in something, like look at who's doing it the best, kind of imitate them. And then eventually you get your own style, I think is an important message for some people out there to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. There you. I agree. Yeah, that's cool.
So like I said, the other stuff you kind of do on your Instagram that I've seen a lot of are a lot of faster and kind of smoother moves, really fast and smooth moves that you probably don't see a lot for cardistry, I think, as much as some other moves. The only other person I can think of off the top of my head is like Elliot Slovin, has like some really fast and smooth stuff. But for people that want to kind of like smooth out their cardistry or get faster, do you have any tips for that?
Well, first of all, thank you for comparing me to Elliot.
Yeah.
That's very generous. Uh, well, to get smooth, this is cliche, but yeah, you do have to practice a lot and get used to holding a deck with your hands. I don't think I think people yeah, and make sure that you have two modes of practice, not modes of practice, two modes of handling cards. You should have your performance mode and your practice mode. People go about card flourishing with this thing where they just do the flourish over and over again, and they hope that they'll finally get over the spot that's not as good, or slow. They have to slow down. You slow down when it's too hard, or you have to think about something, and then you speed up at the points where it's super easy. So of course that leads to the problem of choppy cuts and messing up. So I guess for my practice, you'd have like a practice mode where you go through you're performing your moves, maybe brushing up on some old moves, and when you mess up, you're like, oh, there's a problem there. So you specifically go over that part of the cut until you feel like you can do it, and then you restart the whole thing and see if that helped. So in a nutshell, like when you're performing a card flourish at speed, you're going too fast for you to focus on every little detail, or this finger's going here, this packet's going here. You're relying mostly on muscle memory. So when you have two modes, well, performance mode should be you're just going through the cut, no matter what you want to just finish, and then practice mode you will stop if you have a problem. You slow the whole cut down if you seem to can't do it without messing up. So yeah, that I think that would help a lot of people. Quality practice and two modes of handling cards.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's better to first like start off slower and like have it like a consistent speed all the way through, or to like kind of work on the choppy bits in between and have fast parts? Does that make
If
sense?
you're learning from scratch, like oh yeah, you have to start slow. The whole thing. It's better to learn something well. That way you probably won't have a lot of problems in the end. You'll have better flow if you just start slow, and slowly, really slowly build up strength. I mean, like you can look at diverts and their tips on practicing, and it's the same story. Slow, super slow, super slow. Kevin Ho made a post, and I really agreed with it. This was like a year or two ago, and he was reading this book. If you practiced one move or one thing for a solid week and you did not practice anything else, you focused on doing that, even if you started slow, think how good you'd be at the end of 1 week and a month. So yeah, doing something slowly, but really for a lot of people, they've already learned some moves. So having that mode of practice and mode of performance will help those people. But yeah, I agree with you. Learning slow for sure, for if you're just starting to move out. And of course, once you've learned to move, ironing out the tough spots.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's some awesome advice that some people could definitely gain some information from. So also on your Instagram, you've posted about another hobby that you have. I'm going to try to pronounce this. I don't know if it's correct, but Begleri,
You can just pronounce like bug Larry.
Bugleri,
Begleri, and just say it fast. Yeah.
Bugleri. Okay, I had no
Yeah.
clue. Like I tried to look it up, and like the pronunciation thing did not do a great job.
Yeah, some people pronounce it Begleri, but Begleri is it's fine. But
Mhm.
yeah, Begleri. I don't know what your question was again.
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
um, just for the people at home too, Bugleri, however you say
Mhm.
this, is like two balls with like a string, and you spin it
Yeah.
between your fingers. So my question to you is kind of what do you like about Begleri? Because I think that it's a hobby that a lot of cardists could be interested in because it's also a very dexterous and finger-based type thing?
Well, first of all, man, it's more of like, so first of all, I'll just tell the origins, and so that kind of gives you an idea for why someone would do that. It was a Greek fidget toy. People in Greece apparently had that, and they would just, kind of like sling it around to relieve stress. So for me, yeah, that's kind of what it started out as, and it really appeals to me because it's so simplistic. It's just two balls on a string, two metal balls on a string, and that's it. And yet people have made some really cool and seemingly impossible stuff, just like pin spinning. So it's not a main focus of mine at the moment. But yeah, what appeals to me about it is it's fun to do. it's really fun. It's fun and creative. And it's nice to switch things up once in a while. Kind of helps when you go away from cardistry and then you come back. I feel like you can be more creative sometimes.
I strongly agree with that, kind of what you just said, how it's okay to kind of take a break from cardistry and come back to it and pursue other things, because especially for me, I'll have big moments of creativity, and then I'll have nothing, and then I'll have to go to video games or soccer or one of my other hobbies, and then I'll come back and I'll be like, oh, I actually have a lot more ideas now. So taking a break from cardistry is and coming back to it, or anything creative really, can be extremely helpful.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So yeah.
Do you have so you like Begleri? I'm not going to get this. Is there any other hobbies that you have outside of cardistry that you enjoy?
Well, yes. I also enjoy guitar, piano. What else? I think that's actually about it. Yeah, just some music. Yeah, that's it.
That's a good mix of stuff. I feel like I've seen a lot of cardists that are also into music, at least a lot of the people I've interviewed, like Nate Lex and Sean O, and there's a ton of cardists that are into music. Do you ever find your other hobbies kind of getting mixed into cardistry, maybe music or kind of spinning with the Begleri?
Oh, yeah, I do, because with guitar, when you're trying to learn guitar, you pay a lot of attention to when you hit notes. I think that also applies to moments in cardistry when you stress a particular thing, or if you want to have something really flowing, that it is nothing really punches out at you. Whereas especially practicing music, I listened to this guy. I don't know if you're into guitar as well, but he was talking about having the two modes of practice. And like I said, that's what I'm repeating here. But that really helped me as well. So yeah, doing other things, taking inspiration from that. The other thing is music. I really try to use music to enhance my videos on Instagram. And so yeah, that's definitely bled over to cardistry.
Cool. I always love to see the mixing of different hobbies. I think that's how a lot of awesome cardistry gets made. A lot of unique stuff is when you kind of mix it with something that's not cardistry related. So I always want to ask other people about their hobbies when they're on the show. So also on your Instagram, you kind of have a story highlighted of some bucket list moves that you'd like to, I'm assuming, learn one day. What do you think makes a move bucket list worthy?
Ooh, that's difficult, because there are so many different styles. Well, first of all, it has to be seemingly impossible to me, or really, really difficult. Something that, yeah. So, and also it just has to look, it'd have to be really cool. One of the things I thought was really impossible was Cobra Cut, right? And that's one of my bucket list moves. And then Rainbow Spring, and those kinds of things where it's just when I saw them, the first time I saw them, I was mind blown. I had no idea how someone was able to do that. And then the other thing would be like sometimes a move just really is cool. It's not necessarily super difficult, but it appeals to me and my style. But yeah, it's usually something really impossible and mind blowing, like Rainbow Spring or Cobra Cut, like where it's you have to bounce it on your little finger. So I thought that was cool.
Is there any of those moves that you've gotten to the point of mastery yet, or have been able to do?
I wouldn't say mastery, because yeah, no, I don't do them often enough. When I learned Cobra Cut, it takes a bit for me to warm up because I don't practice it. It's just one of those things where I feel like it's, once I've learned it, it's just kind of like check, and then I move on to other things that I enjoy doing every day. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, like some mantra was one of those things where it was just like, I really should learn that. That goes back to the other question, which is, what makes a bucket list move? It's something I think also that I feel is necessary to learn, will grow you as a cardist. Yeah. So no, I wouldn't say I've mastered any of them, but I practice mantra quite a bit, and skirt deflection. Yeah. And of course, what was Anaconda? Yeah.
I want to learn Anaconda someday. Like I've never really tried, but like I'm at the point where like I have like enough creativity to where I can make my own moves, at least for the most part. And like I'm kind of like, what's the point of trying to learn a move that someone else has made? Do you ever like kind of feel like that or not?
Yeah, I have. That's why I create my own moves. But well, no, when I really originally started cardistry, I just thought it was so cool, and I wanted to be like those other people. I wanted to be like Dan and Dave. So in a way, it's like a way for me to experience what other people are doing in someone else's life. So and I like reading books also. So yeah, I guess you could say. I mean, I feel like that sometimes, but with moves, if not a lot of people are doing them, I think that's a good thing. Like Kevin said one time, like, I mean, he didn't really want to learn some of the moves that like Darren does or Huron does. He wants to do moves that not a lot of people do and that he really likes. So if not a lot of people are doing it, like that kind of makes you unique. So like flip phone was cool, but then everybody did it. And so, like, I mean, what's kind of the point of having it on your page? So yeah, I guess pick out moves you like, and well, not a lot of people do.
There's like some really cool, like awesome moves, especially ones that like are coming out even now. Like, have you seen Skyscraper?
Yeah, the one with Max Crest by Max Crest.
When I first saw that was like a bucket list item for me. I was like, I've got to learn that, and like I learned it pretty much immediately because it's actually like, it's a simple concept. It's just hard to master. But like, I totally understand how you'll see a move and you'll be like, yep, that's the one. Like, that's my style. That's happening sometime. So I really like the idea of like a bucket list of moves. Something I've never really like seen anybody else kind of mention. So I really like the idea. I think it's something that people could implement and like have a list of things that they eventually want to do and kind of steps to get there. So like I said before, you post a lot of decks on your Instagram. Is there a deck that is underrated in your opinion?
Oh yeah. Yeah, a couple. Actually, this is the number one most underrated deck ever. These were based on the old studs. I don't know if you've ever seen old studs.
Yeah.
But yeah, these were based on those, and they're they're inspired by them, but they handle great. I think they look really good in fans and cardistry. So yeah, Choice Playing Cards by Ben Colosi. Those are super underrated. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I've seen that deck around, but like I never see anybody using it. Like, and I don't know how much they cost or anything, but I do see the inspiration from the old studs because that's exactly like the first thing I thought of when I saw them. And I love stud. At least the new studs. I can't afford old studs.
By the way, if you want some, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you want
Here.
some, just go scavenge like vintage card lots. I got this for $7. So yeah.
Good tip. Yeah, there's like at thrift stores too. If you go to thrift stores, like you can find Cincinnati decks pretty easily. I always love doing that, finding blue seals for like 50 cents or something. It's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there, on the flip side, is there any deck that you think's a little overrated? Like, not trying to call anybody out, but
Oh, I don't want to get into that. Yeah.
okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, it of course I'm just gonna. Well, as far as just can you clarify overrated like as far as design or like just because I'm just gonna point out any one worldwide decks, just any of those decks are overrated. Yeah.
Do you like they have like really simple designs. Do you like more complex type of like more interesting?
It depends, but I mean, like, yeah, I usually go for more complex designs, but yeah, I don't know if you could really call anyone playing card design.
Yeah.
For me, for my opinion, but they look good in cardistry. They do. I have them, so that's just something.
No, nobody attack Bear. It's gonna be fine. You can still like anyone. In one of my deep dives, searching up for information about you, I discovered that you were in a video on YouTube about what is cardistry, basically. How do you describe what cardistry is to other people?
Oh wow, that is so old. That's true. Wow, that is so old, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt really weird finding it because it was like I just typed in Bear Smith cardistry, and I found like this 40 view video, and I'm like, yep, I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah, that was so just so cringy, man. I could not stop laughing. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it's probably in the video too. I'm probably laughing, trying to laugh, not to laugh in the video. But what I define as cardistry for other people, for lay people, yeah,
lay people.
Okay.
Like, how would you describe it to just someone walking down the street?
Describe it or like introduce them to it, like its origins, like because I mean, if I was just gonna put it into definition, like I'd say it's shuffling playing cards, with complexity. Yeah, like it's. But if I was gonna show them or to explain it to them, I usually say like, how people cut a deck on the table, if they're gonna play poker or something. Well, what if you did that in your hand? What if you did a riffle shuffle in your hand? What if you did it in one hand? Well, basically that's kind of what I do, except I do it with 5 packets in, and then they're like, whoa, okay, so I see kind of how this is a thing. And so, yeah, I usually start there. Yeah, that's how I introduce people to it.
Yeah, it helps that cardistry is a very visual thing. But if you're like, just like, if you don't have a deck of cards on you or somehow don't have a phone, or you forget the fact that you have a phone like me, it's really hard to like kind of explain cardistry to someone because nobody knows about it.
Yeah. But dude, it is cool though. I don't know if this is for your area, but I was like doing some cardistry and this person walks up to me in church and like, do you do cardistry? And I was like, how do you know? I was like, whoa. So yeah.
Yeah. But, I work with someone who practices like, I guess magic. Yeah. Magic, like card handling. And I was like, I didn't know that at the time. I was like, yeah, he was asking me what I do outside of work. And I was like, I do this thing called cardistry. And he's like, yeah, I know cardistry. I'm like, what? It's weird.
It is so weird because it's just one of those things. It's like Begleri, it's kind of just the simple piece of paper, but we've done so much with it. You can't imagine it off the top of your head. It takes generations,
Yeah, and even being able to talk like, I can do a thumb fan, and they like comprehend what that is. I'm like, yeah. Yay.
Yeah. No. Do you get Shin Lim a lot when
I
you
get
perform for people? Or do you,
Chris
oh, you like
Ramsey,
Shin Lim?
or
Oh, okay.
not as much anymore because he does the puzzle stuff. Shim Lim, yeah, and then I'll get a lot of like, so it's still magic though, right? And I'm like, no, like there's no magic. It's just dexterity, or especially like describing it to family members too. At
Oh,
least for
oh,
me.
dude. Yeah, for sure.
So you've gotten to meet up with some cardists in like real life. You've gotten to do some jams and stuff. What do you think is so special about meeting a cardist in person for the first time?
What is so special? Well, I don't know. It's like you're in this wilderness and you find another human being. You're like, whoa! It's so bizarre. It's like I mean, what's special about it? That is it's the rarity. That's what's so special about it. It's like another human that does the same thing, and like it's weird because I mean, like the first actual jam that I ever went to, or maybe it was the second. Yeah, the second time I went and I met Lewis Caldwell.
Mm-hmm.
Back when he was called Replace the Lamp, on Instagram, and that was really cool because like at the time, like I really didn't know how good he was, but like just meeting him in person was, um, it's kind of funny because when you live on a screen and you
Mm-hmm.
talk to people on a screen, you don't really it's not as genuine. So like in real life, I don't know, it's just it's special because of the similarity. You get to learn other people's moves, and
Mm-hmm.
it's another level of sharing. I'll just say that, yeah,
Yeah,
another level of sharing.
that's a good way to describe it. It's a lot more personal, and it's a lot easier to show off things, and like teach things as well. Especially teach things is a lot easier in person. But I think it's really important to find other people that do cardistry that are near you if possible, because one, it's awesome, and two, it's going to help grow cardistry as a whole. Like, how do your peers, because most of them probably don't know what cardistry is or have any idea, how do you think that they view your hobby?
I think it's really cool.
Mhm.
That's just the thing, and cardistry is inherently cool. Even if you can just do a thumb fan or a charlier, like you're automatically, like, oh, that's really cool that you do that because it's very rare that people just do that. So yeah, I think it's cool.
Mhm. I see a lot of people get discouraged because like they can't like either create moves or like these crazy moves, but they can still do like a spring or like you said, a Charlie cut or a thumb fan. And I'm like, those are still incredible things. Like there's one point that we looked at a thumb fan and we're like, that's a bucket list move. Like that's something I've got to learn. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
so like that's how other people view it too. So I don't want people to get discouraged because they see some of these crazy like things that Lars does, which are absolutely like mind mending,
Yeah, he has
and get
some bucket list moves
discouraged
for
when
sure.
all they can do is like a spring or a fan or just a Charlie cut. Because like even the beginning things are inherently very cool.
Yeah, that's one thing that is really cool about being early in an art form, because piano, twinkle twinkle little star isn't gonna get lots of claps. But if you can do, even if you do it well, but
Mhm.
if you can do spring, it, really well, you're gonna get claps. So yeah, it goes along with that. Don't get discouraged. I would say if you could learn the basics really, really well, like really, you could just do, revolution cut and the spring really well, man, you would be a far ahead of a lot of other cardists, and you would be a better cardist, like in general. Yeah. So don't get discouraged. Just learn the basics really well.
Mhm.
You're on the right track.
And like spring too, like not that spring is hard to or easy to learn. I mean, but like the spring is a move that most people who do cardistry is one of the things they learn first off, and it's still like the coolest move to layman. Like you could do a really fancy 2-packet cut, and then you could do a spring, and they'd be like, "Can you show the spring again?" Like even though 2-packet was much or 2-hand card cut was much harder. So it's always different for viewer experience as well, and I find that
Yeah.
very interesting.
I also find what's interesting about spring is, first of all, it's very versatile. You could do a lot of variations. Rainbow spring. You could do a spring shuffle, which I don't know if you've seen at Creator Alex Lushlov on Instagram. He has a spring shuffle where he springs one half. I think this is so dope. He springs one half of the cards into, a riffle shuffle half. Have you seen that?
I've
Yeah,
seen that.
that's really dope. But the spring keeps extending throughout your cardistry life. So, hopefully you get it this big one day.
Eventually it'll be bigger than you.
Yes, very true. Yeah.
I love it. I love it like when small people learn to do the spring really good because it just looks absolutely massive. Like it'll be the same size, but since it's on a smaller person, it looks ginormous. It's great.
Especially on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what?
So cardistry is naturally a pretty competitive type of hobby. What do you think is good and bad when it comes to cardistry being so competitive among the community?
Well, it can be really good in that it can motivate you to become better. And that's good for this community as a whole, because the better moves that are out there, the more people are going to join, the more community we can have, and it can just advance quicker. The negative part is that you can, number one, alienate people, because when you're really, or you can create enemies, you can have rivals, you can have the negative side of competition. I mean, I think we're kind of a rare community in that I can't really think of somebody who is like, who has like rivals, or like they will not hang out with. Even people, even Carter and Trevor in the Fighting Trials were buddies, and like we're like, on video chats and stuff while competition was, about to go on, and throughout the competition. And that's really cool. But that's not always like that, but yeah, I think you can get discouraged if you don't like, and you can, some people quit. But yeah, I think it's overall better, more good than bad for the community as far as yeah.
Yeah,
competition goes.
Competition breeds excellence is like a common phrase. So I think it's good that we're trying to, create really amazing moves and really flesh things out to the point where they're super smooth. I do think what I see a little bit in the cardistry community is like with some of the people when they're learning early on, like we're a lot less supportive than I would like to see. I don't know if you've seen this at all, but instead of like saying like, here's a tip to make your spring better, it's like, that spring's crap, or why did you post that? It's not original. Which is something I dislike about the community that I've seen. It's not like super common, but I wish we were more supportive of newcomers as a whole. I don't know if you see that at all.
Yeah, definitely. Even myself, like about a year and a half or 2 years ago, I like sucked really bad. It was so bad. And like I got on Tiny Chat, which used to be the shiznit back in the day. Yeah, until things got weird. Anyway, but I mean, it usually comes from people who have like gotten recognized. So maybe they got on Best Cars Alive, or somebody who, they're really good, and then a lot of people know that. Like I mean, that could be different. I mean, there are gonna be bullies in any community at most, skill levels. But yeah, I totally feel that. I think it'd be really cool if like there was a specific cardistry video chat forum where like you had like several hosts throughout the day, so people all over the world could join anytime. and they could like oversee, the chat and make sure everything's healthy, help people out with their cardistry. I feel like that would grow really quickly because there are a lot of beginner cardists, and also like it could prevent people from being toxic,
Mm-hmm.
and it could, yeah, I think that would be cool at some point.
Yeah. Plus, it'd be really cool just for people that like are live in rural areas or like areas like I live in a Cincinnati, which is somewhat populated, and I don't know any other cardists anywhere close by really besides like 2 hours away. So like just having a place that you can go and talk with other people if you don't live close to other cardists, I think would be extremely helpful. And this is something we can also talk about is the OPC hangouts. You're a group leader, right?
Yes, I am.
So you're group leader of the Gojis.
Hey,
Right?
you got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did. Yeah.
How is leading a group of cardists? Just how's the experience been going for you, basically?
First, it was really awkward because I'm not used to get leadership, but so I mean, in that way, it kind of gave me a little bit of an idea of what it is to lead some other people, um, but also like it's pretty cool to know that these people just want to hang out with you. And I asked people, like one of the things when we were starting, like, why are you joining? Why did you join the BC Hangouts? Why did you sign up? And they were like, they just wanted to hang out with people. Like, and of course, they could have some tips and learn, but that's one thing. Like cardistry, having a community is a big part of cardistry. And that's kind of unique to cardistry because like most things, community is like an extra thing and can be non-existent virtually for someone's even professional life in music or whatever. So it just, yeah, I think it kind of impacted me in the way that I feel like I'm more part of the community now, I guess. So, it was really cool to make some new friends.
Yeah, it's always great. One thing I love about cardistry too is just because like it's a smaller hobby, like it's really easy to interact with some of the bigger names more than you would expect to. So like if you're really into music, like there's no way you're going to be able to talk to Taylor Swift. But if you DM like Sean O or like someone, like they might respond, which is like really cool. And something I really like about cardistry. Like I've obviously have had to I do a lot of cold calls basically to try to get interviews for people, and most people are really super down and like into it, and it's not super hard to get into contact with them. So cardistry is like, my hair's crazy. Cardistry is very unique in that perspective to where like you can talk with big names.
Yeah, that is really unique. And dude, especially because like if you're good, you can get a recognition really fast.
Yeah.
And you could literally like if you were really good, you can just snap onto the scene and instantly you're talking with Shivraj, Burger, basically and that's really rare. Like in the music industry, which is of course much larger and there are people competing, breaking into that, is really difficult. So yeah, I agree with you. It's a lot easier to contact those people. Especially with best cards alive and stuff, like recognition is super easy too.
Yeah. Like just staying on the music train, like you can be like a great musician and no, like it doesn't matter. Like people won't know who you are because you don't get like the word or you don't get spread of mouth. So like it's very unique to have such a small community to where you can stick out and be an individual that people know. It's very cool.
Also, I'm looking forward to when #cardistry is over 1 million posts. That's gonna be dope. That's like a mile marker. I think.
Yeah. I really hope cardistry gets small. Like spreads its wings, I guess, and like grows to like pop culture almost. Like I always say I want it to be like skateboarding, to where there can be people just walking by with like a deck of cards and just shuffling and they'll be like, oh, it's a cardist. Like You look at a
Yeah.
skateboarder and you're like, oh, it's a skateboarder, and like you see him do a kickflip, cool. Like I would love for like someone to be walking down the sidewalk and then just do our version of a kickflip. And they're like, oh, cool, and just keep walking.
Yeah.
So that's how I want it to be eventually. I would love for it to grow to that big of the size.
Yeah, and I think it really draws apart from like magic because of our Instagram or social media. Like yeah, that's really, it's just everything's on Instagram, so it's easy to connect.
Cardistry is like a lot easier to share than magic as well, because like magic is still kind of has that stigma of you want to keep it secret, whereas cardistry is like share it to everybody, show everybody, show your mom.
You can't do this move anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like
even if we show you, you won't be able to do it. So so I think this is a good wrapping up point to get into what we call the rapid round of questions on the show, which is just a bunch of random questions. Could be about cardistry, could not be. And the goal is to try to answer them as quickly as possible. So does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So I'm going to pull up a little spin the wheel app on my phone. Can't really see that. But these are truly random questions. I'm going to spin this wheel and we'll jump into it. Sound good?
Great.
All right. First question I got for you. Cats or dogs?
Neither.
Neither. Do you have an animal that you would put in place of cats or dogs?
No. I used to have a cat, but I'm glad it's no longer the situation.
So this is a mainstay at the show. I know I have to ask this question every time. Toilet paper, does it go over or under?
Over, of course. I mean, if it goes under, who are you? What are you doing with your life? You're an unthoughtful person.
Yeah. So you're like, I think you're my 9th interviewee, and no one said under yet. I'm waiting anxiously for someone to say under.
That person's going to say under thoughtlessly. I guarantee it. I guarantee it is that kind of person.
If you could have coffee with any Disney character, who would it be?
You know that dragon from Mulan?
Yeah.
Like the small?
It's Mushishi. It's
Mushu.
Mushu.
No?
Mushu. Yeah.
Mushu or whatever. Yeah. That'd
Eddie
be
Murphy.
fun. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, sure.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
Favorite type of food?
Spicy.
Spicy. Android or iPhone?
I have an iPhone, but I'm switching to Android, so I'm gonna say Android.
Okay. Favorite move that you didn't create?
So it's taking a long time. It's a
No, you're good.
very serious question.
It's a big one. There's so many options.
I know. Okay, I'm just gonna go with the worm because that was the OG move before it got destroyed. Anyway, yeah, that was cool. Or no, Pandora for sure. No questions asked. Yeah.
Okay. If you could add if you could add one word to the dictionary, what would it be?
Cardistry.
Cardistry? Is it not in the dictionary?
It's not in the dictionary yet.
Dang. We need to start a poll or something.
I freaking know. Yeah. Merriam-Webster, get it in there.
I do know, like, every time I type in cardistry, like, it's always like, this is not a word. Like, it has the red underline.
Yeah, it bothers me.
All right. Do you have a favorite musician?
Andre Bocelli. Well, no, he's not a musician. He's a singer, but he does sing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna say that because or the piano guys. Those are cool. I like them. Yeah, piano guys, musicians.
If an actor were to portray you in a movie, who would it be?
Oh wow. If I had to have somebody portray me, it'd be Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, in his old days, not the new, not his. Yeah, not
young
his
Jim
now
Carrey.
Old person. Yeah, young Jim Carrey.
All right, last question. What would the title of your autobiography be?
Uh, oh, mm, I don't know. Unbearable Stories by Bear Smith.
Unbearable
I don't
Stories by
know.
Bear Smith. That'd be a
Yeah,
good book. I'd buy it.
or my unbearable life. That could be it too. I don't know.
Those are some good choices. So Bear, thank you for being on the show. At the end of the show, I usually like to do what I call roll out the red carpet. Is there anything that you would like to promote or any last nugget of information that you would want to give the audience?
Well, a couple of things actually. I am working on my own deck. First of all, um, my own deck, Fall Reflections, which will be dropping in the fall. Prototypes are on the way. Finished prototypes. So yeah, look for that on my account at BearCardistry. Um, the other thing I would like to say, because I'm a Christian, I'd like to share the gospel. I don't know if you allow religious stuff on your channel.
That's fine. This is for your time.
Okay. All right. Well, I just share the gospel. Basically, as a Christian, I believe that God came down on earth and he died on the cross for everyone's sins so that we don't go to hell. And anybody who repents and trusts in him will be saved, trusts in his sacrifice for us. So, yeah, I just thought I would say that as well since I'm a Christian. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, Bear. Thanks for being on. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you guys.
Yeah. See y'all. Bye.
Bye bye.